The Galactic Council had dismissed humans as mythology for 3,000 years. Ancient texts spoke of a species called Homo sapiens, warrior poets who had once walked among the stars before vanishing without trace. The Catharn Empress would laugh at diplomatic dinners, calling them the ghost stories elders tell to frighten hatchlings. Even the scholarly Viridians, who catalogued every extinct species with religious devotion, had relegated humanity to the same category as dragons and phoenixes. Beautiful fiction, nothing more. Commander Zalthor of the Kryn Dominion stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Eternal Fang, watching the war unfold. The consumption had arrived 6 months ago, a hive-mind entity that devoured entire star systems, leaving nothing but void in its wake. 17 civilizations had already fallen, the Council's combined fleets representing 42 species and 10,000 years of military evolution. We're losing. Another colony gone, his tactical officer reported, her chitinous plates dulling with despair. Viridian Prime is next. 2 billion souls. Zalthor's 4 eyes closed in resignation. They had tried everything. Quantum torpedoes, dimensional rifts, even weaponized stars. The consumption absorbed it all, grew stronger, hungrier. In his 7 centuries of military service, he had never known fear like this. That's when the transmission came. It was audio only, transmitted on frequencies so ancient that their comm systems nearly rejected it as corrupted data. A single voice speaking Galactic Common with an accent that made Zalthor's translator glitch. Galactic Council, this is Captain Sarah Chen of the Terran Expeditionary Force. We received your distress beacon. We're coming home. The bridge fell silent. Someone dropped a data tablet. Zalthor's mandibles clicked in disbelief. This is Commander Zalthor of the Council Defense Fleet. Identify yourself properly. Humans are extinct. This is extinct? The human's laugh was short and sharp. No, Commander. We just learned to be careful. 3,000 years ago, we made first contact with the Zathan Confederacy. They saw us as primitive, weak. They tried to conquer Earth, so we showed them what happens when you threaten humanity's home. Zalthor accessed the archive, something he hadn't thought about in decades. The Zathan Confederacy, one of the most powerful empires in ancient history. According to records, they had mysteriously collapsed overnight. Their entire civilization reduced to ruins, their fleets turned to debris. No one knew what had happened. That was you? We were young, angry. We didn't understand our own strength yet. The human's voice softened. After the Zathan, we realized the galaxy wasn't ready for us. So we left, went deep, built our civilization in the dark spaces between stars where no one looks. We've been watching, waiting, hoping we'd never be needed again. And now? Now something's eating our galaxy. And we don't share. They appeared 3 hours later, not with fanfare or dramatic dimensional tears, but simply materializing as if they'd always been there. 12 ships, only 12. The Council had thousands. But these ships were wrong. They didn't follow conventional design principles. No elegant curves or efficient geometries. They looked like they'd been forged in the heart of a dying star and beaten into shape with hatred. Every surface bristled with weapons that made Zalthor's scanners scream warnings. And the energy signatures. His tactical officer confirmed that each ship carried enough firepower to crack a planet. Humans, Zalthor whispered. You only brought 12 ships? Commander, we brought 12 dreadnoughts. That's 11 more than we need. The 12th is just for show. The lead ship, named Indomitable, took point. The Consumption's fleet, a writhing mass of 1,000 bioships that had decimated the Council's forces, moved to intercept. What happened next would be studied in military academies for generations. The humans didn't try to avoid damage. They flew directly into the enemy formation, weapon systems howling like banshees from old Earth legends. Their kinetic accelerators fired projectiles at 97% light speed. Their energy weapons operated at wavelengths that shouldn't exist, tearing apart matter at the molecular level. And when the Consumption tried to absorb the attacks as it had done before, the human weapons adapted, evolved, changed their fundamental properties mid-flight. How? Zalthor demanded, watching in awe as one human dreadnought carved through 50 enemy vessels like a knife through water. Captain Chen's response was almost casual. We've had 3,000 years with nothing to do but prepare for the day we'd need to fight again. We studied every conflict in recorded history. We built artificial intelligences smarter than gods to design weapons. We pushed physics until it broke and then rebuilt it stronger. And most importantly, Commander, we never forgot what we are. What you are? Persistence predators. On old Earth, we weren't the fastest or strongest. But we never stopped. We chased prey until they collapsed from exhaustion. We pursued across continents, across seasons. We don't stop. As if to punctuate her words, the Indomitable rammed directly into the consumption's central mass. For a moment, Zalthor thought the humans had made a suicide run. Then the ship's core detonated. A controlled singularity that dragged half the enemy fleet into a pocket dimension and sealed it forever. 11 seconds later, Captain Chen's voice came through again, now broadcasting from the second dreadnought. Command transferred. Continuing engagement. The battle lasted 18 minutes. When it ended, the consumption's fleet was obliterated. The entity itself, a consciousness that had devoured solar systems, was broken into fragments and scattered across dimensional rifts where it would take millennia to reform. The human fleet, now down to 7 ships, held position, waiting. Zalthor found his voice. Captain Chen, the Council would like to extend formal thanks and discuss. We're not staying, Commander. Her tone was gentle but firm. We came because we were needed. But the galaxy still isn't ready for humanity. Maybe it never will be. We're too dangerous, too efficient at war. We'd either rule you or destroy you, and neither option is acceptable. But you saved us. You're heroes. We're survivors who learned to be monsters so we could protect what matters. There's a difference, a pause. We'll leave observation posts. If something like the consumption returns, we'll come. Until then, tell your children stories about the humans. Tell them we're legends. Tell them we're watching from the dark. And tell them that sometimes the scariest monsters are the ones who fight for you. The 7 remaining dreadnoughts vanished as silently as they'd arrived. Commander Zalthor stood on his bridge, staring at empty space where gods of war had briefly dwelt. His tactical officer approached, her voice hushed with reverence. Sir, should we update the records? Remove humans from the mythology database? Zalthor considered this. In the distance, the saved colony worlds began broadcasting messages of gratitude and disbelief. The Galactic Council would convene emergency sessions. Scholars would debate for decades. And somewhere in the dark between stars, humanity watched and waited. No, he finally said. Keep them as legends. Some truths are more powerful as myths. Let the galaxy believe in the humans who disappeared and returned when needed most. Let children hear stories of the war deities who save us from the dark. He looked at the star chart, at all the empty spaces between systems where sensors showed nothing. Besides, he added quietly, they were right. The galaxy isn't ready for the truth about humanity. Perhaps it never will be. In the void, 7 human dreadnoughts turned toward home, leaving behind a grateful galaxy that would forever wonder if the legends were real. They were, they always had been.